Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something. Baby, truth is a stubborn thing. You can dress it up in silk or hide it under the bed, but it don't never stop being what it is. And when it comes to your dreams, your calling, your purpose, you gotta stand flat-footed in front of it and say, this is mine. No lies, no sugarcoating, no whispering behind your own back. People walk through this life trying to be what the world expects, putting on masks they were never meant to wear. They chase goals that ain't even theirs, live out stories written by someone else's hand. But I'm here to tell you, your soul knows. Your soul keeps count. And if you're not honest with your goal, baby, your spirit will ache with a silence too loud to ignore. Your goal cannot guide you if you keep lying to it. That's the heart of it right there. You see, when you say you want something, but your actions are too timid, too tangled in other people's expectations, then you're not walking in truth. And anything built on a lie will crumble before it ever has a chance to rise. You might tell the world you want success, you want growth, you want love, but if deep down you don't believe you deserve it, or worse, if you're reaching for something just to prove somebody wrong or right, then that goal isn't your truth. It's a costume. There's something sacred about being still and saying, this is what I really want. That's where your power lives. That's where the real movement begins. But it's easier to perform than it is to be honest. It's easier to pretend you're working toward a goal than it is to admit you've been afraid of what would happen if you actually reached it. Because real dreams demand real change. They demand discipline. They demand you shed the lies you've told yourself just to survive. And I get it. Truth can feel like a heavy thing. But what's heavier is waking up every day chasing a goal that don't belong to you. What's heavier is pouring your energy into a path that leads nowhere because it was never yours to walk in the first place. You can't be led by something you're not connected to. And you can't connect with something you won't be honest about. People keep asking life for direction, but won't give life the truth. It's like handing someone a map and refusing to say where you want to go. You'll wander, you'll repeat steps, you'll stay stuck. Because honesty is what gives your goal the legs to stand on and the breath to speak back to you. Without it, your goal can't correct you, can't challenge you, can't carry you forward. It becomes a hollow thing. Something that sounds good in conversation but leaves you empty when the applause fades. You've got to look your goal in the eye and stop pretending. Stop performing. If you say you want to write a book, then write like it matters to your soul. If you say you want peace, then stop feeding chaos. If you say you want to lead, then lead yourself first with integrity, with truth. Because a goal born of honesty will ask more from you. But it will also give more back. It will grow with you, evolve with you, stretch you into someone stronger, someone clearer, someone whole. That's the real blessing of being honest with your goal. It becomes a mirror, not just showing you where you're going, but reflecting who you are as you move. It'll show you your limits and dare you to push past them. It'll show you your fears and ask if you're done hiding. It'll show you your greatness, even on the days you don't feel it. But it only does that if you meet it with truth. So stop lying. Stop dressing your dream in doubt just to make it seem more polite, more manageable, more acceptable. Your goal deserves your honesty because your future does too. Start today, look it in the face and tell it the truth. Clarity begins the moment honesty steps in. Until then, everything is fog, blurry, intentions, half-meant words, and dreams that look good but feel empty. When you're not honest with yourself about what you truly want, it's like trying to drive with dirty windows. You're moving, sure, but you can't see where you're headed. And that kind of movement doesn't build anything real. It just keeps you busy. There's power in clarity. There's peace in knowing what you want without apology. But that kind of knowing doesn't just fall into your lap. It comes when you strip away the noise, the comparisons, the pressure, the shoulds, the fear. Clarity is not something you find outside of yourself. It shows up the moment you stop running from your own truth. And to stop running, you've got to be honest. Honest about what excites you, what scares you, what makes your heart beat different. Most people confuse confusion with safety. They stay in that in-between space, not because they don't know, but because naming their real goal would mean making real choices. It would mean letting some things go. It would mean stepping into the unknown. But confusion can only protect you for so long. Eventually, the ache of not living true gets louder than the fear of doing it. Eventually, the question becomes too big to ignore. What do I really want? And when you're ready to answer that with honesty, clarity walks through the door. It's funny how things change when you finally tell yourself the truth. That thing you were chasing to impress them, you see it for what it is. That role you were playing to keep the peace, it starts to feel like a cage. And the goal that kept tugging at your soul, the one you tried to bury under logic and responsibility, it starts to shine through. It was never gone, just waiting on your honesty. And when you find that clarity, your steps get lighter. You're not pulled in 10 different directions anymore. You don't say yes to things that drain you. You stop explaining yourself to people who never really saw you anyway. Because now you're not chasing shadows, you're walking towards something solid, something that fits you, something that feels like home. People will tell you to find your passion, to follow your purpose, but they skip the part where you got to tell the truth first. You can't follow what you won't name. You can't build on a foundation that's cracked by lies you tell to keep things easy. Real clarity isn't always neat. Sometimes it comes with tears, with letting go, with starting over. But it comes, and when it does, your life starts to speak in your voice, not someone else's. That's what makes the difference between existing and living. You stop reacting and start choosing. You stop wandering and start moving with intention. You wake up and your days have shape. Your work has meaning. Even your struggle has direction. And all of that starts with the simple, powerful act of being honest with yourself. So if you're feeling lost, don't go searching out there. Go inward. Listen. Be still. And when your truth rises up, no matter how messy or unexpected it looks, honor it, speak it, follow it. Because once honesty shows up, clarity will never leave you in the dark again. What you hide from yourself becomes the weight you carry. It doesn't matter how well you smile, how much you hustle, or how many dreams you joust on your wall. If you're hiding from your truth, it's showing up in your steps, in the heaviness of your breath, in the way you avoid the mirror, in the way you second guess your own desires. We are not just burdened by the lies we tell others. We are burdened far more by the lies we tell ourselves. You say you're aiming for something, but you've buried the real reason you want it. Or worse, you've buried the truth that you want something completely different. And that denial, it doesn't go away. It doesn't disappear just because you pretend it doesn't exist. It becomes baggage, invisible maybe, but you feel it every day. You feel it when you settle. You feel it when you say yes and mean no. You feel it in the silence when your soul tries to speak, but you shush it with distraction, with busyness, with noise. We weren't made to live with that kind of weight. We weren't meant to carry our own truths like secrets. The longer you run from what you know deep down, the more it drains you. Because hiding isn't just about fear, it's about resistance. And nothing slows a person down more than resisting the very thing they were born to embrace. You gotta understand, your truth has a voice. It keeps calling, no matter how far you try to push it back. And every time you ignore it, every time you pretend not to hear it, you add another stone to the bag you're dragging behind you. That's why some people look tired, even when they've been doing everything right. And they're exhausted, not from work, but from pretending. From holding back the parts of themselves that long to breathe. We tell ourselves lies for protection, that our real goal is too big, that it's too late, that people won't understand. But the real danger isn't what happens if people don't understand. It's what happens when you stop understanding yourself, when you stop trusting your own voice, when you quiet your desires so much they forget how to speak up. That's not safety. That's self-abandonment, and it will leave you empty, no matter how full your life looks on the outside. But here's the truth. Baby, you don't have to carry that weight. You don't have to keep dragging around unspoken dreams and unclaimed purpose. You can set it down. You can turn inward and say, what am I hiding from myself? And whatever the answer is, even if it shakes you, even if it breaks your routine, even if it breaks your heart for a moment, it will also set you free. Go! Because when you stop hiding, you stop carrying, you let go of the weight, you step into alignment. And that's when things begin to shift. That's when your goals stop feeling like guesses and start feeling like directions. That's when clarity starts to shine and momentum begins to build. You move lighter, you speak truer, you live fuller. So don't be afraid to face what's been buried. Bring it into the light. Let your truth be seen while you first, because you can only run so far before you realize the only thing in your way is the truth you refuse to welcome. And truth, when finally embraced, will never let you walk heavy again. False goals waste true time. That's the kind of truth most people don't want to sit with, because it's easier to chase something that looks good than to stop and ask yourself if it's actually meant for you. And it's easier to stay busy than to be still and listen. But time, child, time is not something you get back. And every day spent running towards something that's not truly yours is a day lost to someone you're not meant to be. Sometimes we set goals not because they stir our spirit, but because they silence our fears. We say we want the job, the title, the recognition, but deep down, what we really want is to feel worthy, safe, seen. And there's nothing wrong with wanting to be seen, nothing wrong with wanting more. But the danger comes when we trade truth for approval, when we build a life around what looks right instead of what feels true. You can build an entire staircase out of false goals. You can climb high. People might even cheer for you. But one day you'll look around and realize the view ain't right, that something inside still feels unsatisfied. You'll feel it in the quiet moments when the applause fades and you're left alone with yourself. That's when the cost of wasted time hits hardest. Because effort isn't the only thing you lose when your goal isn't real. You lose pieces of yourself in the climb. We are taught to admire the grind, to keep going no matter what, but baby, going faster in the wrong direction doesn't bring you any closer to your truth. And you know what's scarier than starting over? Spending years building something you never wanted in the first place? That's the kind of regret that lingers. You have to be bold enough to stop, to ask the hard question, is this goal mine? Not the goal your parents wanted, not the goal your younger self clung to out of fear, not the goal that impresses strangers, yours. And if the answer makes you uncomfortable, good. That means you're getting close to something real. Time is sacred. It's not just hours on a clock, it's the rhythm of your life. Every moment you give to a goal should be given with purpose, with honesty, because energy doesn't lie. When you move from truth, the work may still be hard, but it won't feel hollow. You'll be fueled, not drained, pulled forward, not pushed around. False goals demand sacrifice too, but they never pay back what they take. They'll drain your joy, your creativity, your connection to yourself, and by the time you realize it, the fire inside you might have gone quiet. That's why honesty is so essential. It keeps you connected to your source. It keeps you from wandering too far from your why. So don't be afraid to walk away from a goal that doesn't fit anymore. Don't be afraid to admit you were chasing something that was never yours. That's not failure. That's freedom. That's wisdom. That's the beginning of real alignment. And when you're finally walking in the direction of your truth, you'll see how time expands, how everything that once felt scattered starts to fall into place. Because when your goal is real, your time becomes sacred again. Honesty with your goal is the first act of self-respect. Before the world believes in you, before anyone supports your dream, before the work even begins, you've got to be willing to look yourself in the eye and say, this is what I want. Not what's convenient, not what looks shiny on the outside, not what keeps the peace, what you truly, deeply want. Because you can't respect a life built on denial, and you can't grow inside a version of yourself you don't trust. Respect doesn't start with how people treat you. It starts with how you treat your own truth. And lying to yourself about what you want or dimming your desires so they don't make others uncomfortable, that's a betrayal. Not loud, not cruel, but steady, quiet. It chips away at your confidence. It dulls your vision. It makes you question your worth, even when you've done nothing wrong, because deep down, your soul knows when you're playing small to stay safe. We live in a world that tells us to be realistic, to be grateful for what we have, to not ask for too much. And gratitude is beautiful, yes, but it is not a substitute for honesty. You can be grateful for what is and still hungry for what could be. You can love your life and still want more from it. That doesn't make you greedy. That makes you alive. And respecting that longing, that's self-respect. There's nothing more sacred than saying, I believe my dreams matter. That belief changes the way you move. It changes the way you speak. It changes the decisions you make. You stop settling for crumbs. You stop chasing validation. You start building something rooted, something that honors your essence. Because a goal built on truth is a declaration, I am worth showing up for. But here's the hard part. Respecting your goal means not shrinking from the work it asks of you. It means showing up even when no one claps. It means letting go of goals that no longer align, even when they once brought you praise. It means saying no to distractions that flatter your ego but drain your purpose. That kind of self-respect is rare. It requires you to choose your truth again and again, even when it's inconvenient, especially when it's inconvenient. And once you do that, something changes. You stop chasing goals to prove yourself. You start choosing goals to be yourself. There's a difference. One is exhausting. The other is empowering. One burns you out, the other builds you up. So ask yourself, have I been honest about what I really want? And if not, why? What am I afraid will happen if I stop pretending? If the answer is rejection, failure, judgment, know this: you were never meant to be accepted by everyone. You were meant to be aligned with yourself. And that alignment, that's the seed of everything powerful, everything lasting, everything that lights you up from the inside out. Respect your calling enough to name it. Respect your vision enough to follow it. Respect your future enough to stop hiding from it. Because when you begin to respect your truth, life begins to respect you right back. You can only chase what you're brave enough to admit you want. That's where everything begins. Not with talent, not with resources, not with a perfect plan, just courage. The kind of courage that cracks your chest open and makes you say out loud, this is what I want. No edits, no shrinking, no dressing it up to sound more acceptable, just the raw, unfiltered truth. And truth, my dear, always demands bravery. Because wanting something deeply, truly, openly, it makes you vulnerable. It means you might fall short. It means people might misunderstand. It means you're exposed. But you know what's worse than failing? Living a life where you never let yourself try. A life where your dreams die in the silence between your fear and your voice. And so many do. So many carry beautiful, burning desires in their hearts, but never name them, never chase them, because they've convinced themselves it's safer to settle. But what is safety if it costs you yourself? What is comfort if it comes from hiding? When you deny your wants, you're not avoiding risk, you're inviting regret. And regret is a slow ache. It builds, it lingers. It whispers in quiet moments, reminding you of the things you didn't dare pursue. That's why honesty is not just about integrity, it's about liberation. It frees you from the prison of pretending. It lets you stretch your arms wide and say, this is my path, no matter how unfamiliar it may look. Bravery doesn't mean you're fearless, it means you move with the fear. You carry it with grace. You don't wait to be ready or worthy or perfect. You show up with your heart in your hands and say, I want this. That act alone is sacred. It aligns you with the truth of your being, and from that place, momentum builds. Not always fast, not always loud, but steady. And steady is enough. See, when you're honest about what you want, you stop wasting energy. You stop chasing things that don't belong to you. You stop building a life that impresses everyone but satisfies no one, not even you. You begin to walk in rhythm with your purpose. And that rhythm, that alignment is where fulfillment lives. But you have to choose it over and over again. You have to choose honesty when it's tempting to blend in. You have to choose bravery when it's easier to be vague. You have to choose to name your goal, even when the voice inside trembles. Because the only way your goal can reach for you is if you let it know it's wanted. And once you do that, the world starts to open. You meet people who speak your language. You find opportunities that match your energy. You discover strength you didn't know you had. But none of that happens until you claim your desire. Until you say, yes, this is mine, and mean it. So no more hiding, no more pretending. You're fine with less. No more sitting on the sidelines of your own life. Be brave enough to want more, to name it, to move toward it, even if the first step is shaky, even if the road ahead is long. Because the moment you're honest about what you want, your life starts moving in the direction of who you were always meant to become. So now you know honesty isn't just a virtue, it's a compass. It's a quiet fire that clears the fog, lifts the weight, reclaims your time, builds your self-respect, and awakens your courage. When you are truly honest with your goal, everything changes, not all at once, not without resistance, but with certainty. You start to walk in rhythm with your own life.